Welcome to the next edition of the TMS podcast. I am Hollywood Sean Buchanan with my guy, my brother Aaron Cass. This is your first time hearing us. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you follow us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and anywhere you find your major streaming platforms. And today we have a special guest in the building. She was able to grace us with her presence last year around this time. So I guess we can just make this an annual thing. At this moment, even though we didn't agree to that, I'm just saying it on air, so I have it out there, so we can't say what to said. You've heard her bless the airwaves on NESN. She's now blessing the airwaves on SNY up in New York. So without further ado, Chelsea Sherrod, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Hello. Thank you guys so much for having me. Yeah, I feel like I've been so bad because I should have been on like probably a couple months ago. But I'm glad that you guys are like, Chelsea, let's make it work this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course. Glad to be here.
Well, no, I think what it was, because I remember the Knicks played the Heat, and then we was like, well, if the Knicks ended up playing the Celtics, we would kind of do like a preview at that time. But obviously, the Heat did their thing and took out both teams. It took out both teams, so it is what it is. But it was a magical run by Miami, and then they got brought back down to reality because that boy Jokic is a bad man, and so is Jamal Murray. So it is what it is. So,
what are your thoughts on that with the Heat? Do you think Jimmy Butler is like a choke artist, or do you think he's not obviously not like a superstar, but is he just like a star?
I think Jimmy Butler's a superstar, but I think he needs another piece in there. I think it was tough having Tyler Hero like injured like the majority of the playoffs and stuff like that, but like he can't do it alone. Like Jimmy Butler's not, clearly he's obviously not LeBron James, like he's not Nikola Jokic. He's not like that one guy that can like lead his team to the promised land, even though he got them to the finals. But I think it's just like a matter of, I don't know if it's a choke job, but he gets to these points in the playoffs and in the season where it's like, all right, dude, like turn it up. How are you going to do this? Like, can you get your guys a championship? And he just can't do it by himself. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, listen, first round Jimmy is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And, Milwaukee found that out. Listen, once again, I've clowned Jimmy Butler at times because I just feel like people put him on a pedestal that he doesn't warrant at this moment. At this moment, once again, when it's all said and done, I do think he's a Hall of Famer, even though he denounced that he denounced that right, in my opinion. But I think that he is a hell of a player when it's all said and done. But yeah, listen, that 56-point game he had against Milwaukee, and I said, oh my God, I was like, this is that was top 5 that I've seen. I don't care what round, I don't care the moment. Like that was special. He got crazy hot, and I was like, oh, okay, like maybe they can get past Milwaukee, which they end up doing, and then they went on a crazy run. I mean, it only happens every 20 years or so because New York's the team that did it previously. So it is what it is. So, but yeah, either way, congrats to Denver for winning their first championship in franchise history. But I can't have you on here and not talk myself before we get into New York. I know you rep in New York always, but I wanted to get into this. So right before free agency, the Celtics do what people thought was the unthinkable. They trade Marcus Smart to the Memphis Grizzlies I don't know if it was a 3-team trade. No, it was just I think it might have been a 3-team trade.
Yeah.
Porzingis comes back in the deal to Boston, and they send some other pieces to Washington. So just as someone who worked up here, someone who knows what the Celtics or how the Celtics love Marcus Smart, whether it be the organization or the fans, just what were your thoughts as that trade went down?
No, dude, it was okay. So I think from like a basketball fan, like Hooper perspective, like it obviously was like really tough to see Marcus Smart go because he was that spark for the Celtics. Like he's so high energy. Like we know what he can do defensively. He spent his entire career leading up to this point there. So it was hard to see him go. But like just coming from like a person who covers the game, obviously, I guess from just like a basketball like lover perspective, like there were points, even when I was at NESN last year, like there were points in the postseason where people were calling for his job too. You know what I mean? And I think what it really, yes, Rashawn, you are one of those people. But I think that really what it comes down to is like in big moments, and we talk a lot about the Celtics and how they play down the stretch, meaning in the fourth quarter. We talk a lot about how they play in the postseason. When it comes down to big moments, like Marcus Smart is just not that point guard that they need him to be offensively. Like, obviously was defensive player of the year. Was that last year?
Yeah, last year. Yep.
Last year, defensive player of the year. Offensively, he just doesn't give them enough. And when you have a guy like Jason Tatum, who has been on a steady incline in his growth in the league, and then you have guys like Jaylen Brown, obviously the Malcolm Brogdon situation was very interesting in the postseason. But you bring in you have these pieces, these homegrown pieces. You bring in these guys, and then you get to Eastern Conference Championship, got to the finals last year, and you still can't get it done. And the majority of that comes down to, as far as Marcus Smart is concerned, is offense. So I think that they had to let him go. It's just super unfortunate just because he means so much to the city. He means so much to the fan base. But I think that it was time.
Yeah, I mean, me and Aaron are going back and forth, because there's no bigger troll of Boston sports than my guy here, Mr. Cass. But
who me? No way.
No, it's all good. But no, I think what you said is spot on. I've been calling for this since the bubble. Like that's when we started this show. We started the show a little bit after the bubble, and I'm like, yo, like it's time. And what was wild to me, the same fans that were on Twitter, that was on Instagram, even probably if Threads had came out right before, they'd have been on Threads saying the same thing. They would have said, get this man out of Boston, and then they had the audacity, the nerve, whatever word you want to put out there, and say, oh man, I can't believe they traded him. But I said y'all was calling for his head. That's what but I'm like, I see me. I'm like, no, like I'm not. I said I wasn't changing. Once again, there was games when I was like, yes, Marcus Smart wanted it the most, and he's the reason why they won. But I never lost sight of, man, he makes some boneheaded plays at times that make you say, why the hell is this man even on the court? And that's what happened this past season. There was times when Mazzulla said, you know what? I'm gonna rock with Derek White. I'm gonna rock with Malcolm Brogdon, because he felt that those two guys on the floor gave Boston the best chance to win. And more times than not, they did. And I don't know. I just think, to me, it was time. And once again, when you can get a guy that's 7'2", 7'3", that shot 50% from the field, 40% from three, came off a career year essentially, you make that move. Same thing what happened with IT a few years back. You had a chance to get Kyrie. And once again, we know what happened after, but in the moment, in a vacuum, when you can get a top 5 talent or a top 10 talent in the league, you do that. So it's just like, I don't know. I think revisionist history is a mug, and I think that people need a reality check. And I'm excited to see what KP does. Once again, I think they're better on paper, but good thing games aren't won on paper. You have to actually go out there.
Right.
And execute. But once again, I thought this was long overdue, so I'm glad that Brad Stevens didn't get emotional and pulled the trigger.
Yeah. No, I mean, shout out to Brad Stevens. He's absolutely incredible.
Yes.
But the KP move, the KP move, like, I'm really interested to see how this goes on with the Celtics. Just because I feel like, even going back to his time with the Knicks, spending what was that, like 2.5, 3 seasons with the Knicks. And obviously they thought that he would kind of be like their savior, so to speak, especially, coming off of everything that happened with Carmelo and like whatever. But I just feel like, as far as what the Celtics need, like their necessity, like what I feel like they need as far as like point guard play, as far as more production from behind the arc on the 3-point line and things like that, I think KP Porzingis will allow them to stretch the floor a little bit. But I'm also just like, I don't know. Like, yeah, great. He's like a 7-footer. Great. He can shoot the ball pretty well. I mean, he shot like close to 40% from 3, just like you mentioned. But I'm just like, I feel like, I don't know. Is it going to be, would it be Brogdon? Like, who's running point? Like, is it?
So to me, it should be Derek White. Like
Derek White, okay.
Yeah,
and Derek White,
he proved to me that he's the guy.
Huge fan. I think that he's just made incredible strides too. Like, he really stepped up late for the Celtics last season.
Yeah.
Derek White, JB, JT,
Mm-hmm.
KP.
And then, well, to me, so the starting five should be Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon. I mean, I don't remember. I'm sorry. Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, Rob. That should be the five to me. Okay. Al to me should come off the bench, and I know.
Well, yeah, he should. Yeah.
Yeah, he should. But once again, so I've met a couple of his sisters. This is not so. When you see me at TD, Mimi and Anna, this is not a knock. I love your brother. So don't, when you see me, if you hear this, do not check me on level 3, please. And that's not, I'm not coming. I just think at this time, Al should be coming off the bench because he'd be more beneficial. That's all I'm saying. I still want him in Boston. I still think he can contribute. I just think that he should be coming off the bench because we saw the decline happen a little bit after the Philly series this season. So once again, I'm just saying from a basketball perspective, as ain't personal, this is a business, and I think that he would be, once again, he's 37, he'll be 38 after next season. So I'm just like, at this time, to get the best version of him, I feel like, getting him 15 to 20 minutes a night off the bench would be huge in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. Anna and Maria, his sisters, are such nice ladies.
Yeah.
He has a really great family. So yeah, shout out to the Horford.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I think Al can definitely act as a spark off the bench. He obviously plays hard. He's an incredible NBA vet. The guys love him. Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Like you said, granted, all of that looks great on paper. We're just gonna have to see how that kind of plays out. And what KP's impact really can be for the Celtics, especially if, we know how Jaylen Brown especially, but we know how JB and Jason Tatum both can kind of go through some slumps and they can have their inconsistencies throughout the year. So can Kristaps Porzingis be that guy to kind of level things out instead of the highs and lows feeling so high and low? Is he going to be able to come in as a vet and kind of be that even kind of keel player and have that type of production to kind of keep them above water throughout the year? So, we'll see what happens.
I'm praying. So, listen, I'm praying. So, Aaron, any thoughts before we move on to the next thing?
Nah, I'm tired of this Boston talk. Let's get into some New York stuff.
Tired of it.
Yeah, it's just we're only doing a show about sports, so we get tired of this Boston stuff. How dare you, But listen, so yes, the time has come. Once again, I didn't want to wait to the end of the show. I wanted to get this out the way now. So once again, for those that listened to the show at this time last year, we did it around free agency, and at the time, Jalen Brunson had signed a 4-year deal for $110, and Chelsea and I were on opposite sides of the spectrum when it came to this deal. I said good player, but not worth it. And Chelsea was like, what are you talking about? The man went to work. He balled out in the Western Conference Finals. The man deserved it. What are you talking about, Rashad? I know I'm just meeting you, but what are you talking about? So yes, being the bigger person here, coming off a career year, yes, I can admit on air, as this goes out to every single platform, that for this season and maybe even beyond, I was wrong about the Jalen Brunson signing. The man has been everything that he was supposed to be. He fit the bill. He played hard for the city, and he was the only reason I felt like they had a chance against Miami in that second round. So yes, the Jalen Brunson signing thus far has been a success, and I said I can gladly admit that I was wrong.
Well, thank you. I will take all the flowers, Rashawn. I appreciate that. But no, Jalen Brunson has been everything that the Knicks have wanted him to be, and honestly, they got him for a steal at that 4-year 110 because now the man is worth way more. And just like you mentioned, he was the reason that they were still had a fighting chance. That Miami series, that was rough. And he was injured. I think did he miss a game in that series? But yeah, no, he literally was steering the ship. This guy is just so consistent, and that kind of comes back to that Villanova bred type player, Jay Wright. They grind it out. Their fundamentals are down packed. And he's been showing that in the league, and to do it at the highest level in a place like New York City, where people are coming at you every single game. Somebody has something to say, playing in Madison Square Garden as your home court. Jalen Brunson has performed at an incredibly high level. He's given Knicks fans an immense amount of hope this season, especially when you have a guy who's supposed to be their star like Julius Randle, and obviously he still is, but when he's kind of showing a little bit of inconsistencies, especially down the stretch, he got injured in the last part of the regular season, going into the playoffs, just wasn't the same guy. Jalen Brunson was there and he kept them in games. So, I mean, and to do that in your first full year with the team, with an organization, and kind of putting them on their back, you're the point guard, so you're running the show. Like, shout out Jalen Brunson. I mean, people are ready to give him the keys to the city. Like, I think that, you know, he is the star. I do think that he definitely was snubbed from All-Star this past season. I will say that. But he's incredible. Jalen Brunson, huge fan. Really, really happy for New York to have him. I'm sure Dallas is kind of, you know, missing him a little bit. We saw the exchange between Brunson and Luka Doncic. I don't know if you guys saw it today, or was it yesterday on Instagram? And Luka was like, they're like, Jalen, like, do you miss Luka? And he like didn't say anything. He was like, yeah, so happy for my guy like getting married. And Luka was like, but do you miss me? But I think that Knicks fans are really happy to have him in New York, and he's putting on a show. He makes you want to watch the Knicks. So, I mean, for him to come in and do that, he was the best pick of the free agency, and the Knicks got him. So, shout out to them.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, Aaron, if you want to add on to that, man. So listen, you know, we already got that I was wrong. So just, you know, give us your thoughts about what Jalen Brunson ended up doing. I know you agree with Chelsea about him being an All-Star snub. So just speak to the impact he had this season, and what do you think he'll be able to do, you know, going forward in the Knicks uniform?
Well, hopefully he stays there long term, because the Knicks have had really bad point guards over the last like 10, 15 years. So this is probably their best point guard that they've had. So it's just so vindictive that you had to apologize. Feels good. So that's all I got to say about Jalen Brunson. But I do want to know though, with Dante DiVincenzo coming into New York, is Jay Wright coming? I asked Shay last episode. He doesn't think Jay Wright's coming over to the Knicks. Is Villanova basketball like invading the Garden?
You know, it's so funny. We were joking about this at work the other day, because we were like, they got Jalen, they've got Josh Hart. Now Dante's coming over. Jay Wright obviously is no longer the head coach at Villanova. So I mean, if the guy's looking for a job, it would be amazing. I think Knicks fans would be like, oh, of course they're going to bring this guy in. But it seems like he's having a lot of fun doing some analyst work, so we'll have to see how that goes. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's literally, we're calling them the Nova Knicks now. I think it's just so wild that we have. It's kind of unfortunate that Mikal Bridges is in Brooklyn, though. I kind of wish that he was, you know, in New York in Madison Square Garden with his guys. That would have been nuts to have all four of them. But Dante, I mean, I think it's so funny because some Knicks fans are like, great, Dante's here. Like, you know, he can be a really good role player off the bench. And, you know, he obviously, there will be some chemistry between, you know, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and himself, and they play well together. But I think that a lot of people are kind of weary because they're like, you know, the Knicks, they need some better three-point shooters. They need guys who are going to be able to pull from long distance, be that spark. And I hear them, but, you know, Dante, he had a really great season with the Warriors. He shot close to 40% from three. So we'll see how productive he can be coming off the bench for the Knicks. But I don't know. We'll have to like send a message somehow to Jay Wright to see what his thoughts are on spending some time in the Garden. But I think that it's super cool. Like, it's like the dream, right? To like go to a college, win multiple championships with a group of guys, and then you all make it to the league. And now 3 of you are on the same team together. Like, that's, I mean, it's kind of storybook. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they go trade for Kyle Lowry now. I mean, listen. I know they wanted him a few years ago when he was leaving Toronto. They was like, okay, you know, try to make it happen. So have the OG, the Wildcat. Hell, bring in Allen Ray. Bring in. Let's keep the party going. You know, that would be great. I mean, listen, they've produced some really good talent out of that program over the years. So, I mean, listen, he's he's a hard-nosed player. Like I thought that I didn't think that he was going to get $50 million. So I was thinking maybe he would get like maybe like a mid-level reception for around 8 to 10 million. But hey, shout out to getting him for $50 million. I think that's I think that's a steal as well. So I like to see how he will play up there. But yeah, I honestly, and this might be a hard take, but maybe not. But I would see if they would take RJ Barrett from Mikal Bridges. And put some, I don't know, because I'm like, go get him. Because they clearly they can joke about what they want on Instagram and say that's not, he can say that's not my boys or whatever. If Leon Rose or whoever's over there was like tomorrow was like, hey, we give you RJ Quinn Grimes, whatever, second round pick for Mikal Bridges.
Swap him.
You said swap immediately, gone out of there.
Get it done.
Like get on, get on the Brooklyn Bridge, whatever. Get on the train, get on the 4 train, and get out of there. So I listen, but I would like to see that happen too. So I'm hoping that they, figure it out. Because they need something. Once again, as much as I joke about New York, like New York is better. The NBA is better when teams in New York are doing better.
1,000%.
Yeah,
1,000%.
So,
yeah.
You didn't think I would say that, huh, Aaron? You didn't think I would admit to that on air that it's better. I could be. He won't say that about Boston. He won't say that. He will never say that it's better when Boston's doing well. He'll just say, "Oh, I guess it's great that they did well this year, or whatever." But they still suck, or the city sucks. We went to school together in this state, Aaron. You came to us. We didn't come to you. You came to us.
Listen. Boston fans are obnoxious. They are so obnoxious, especially when they're winning, and then when they lose, it's just like fire sale, burn everything down. Oh, we're good. Nope.
Yeah,
so I mean, listen, huh?
New York fans don't do that.
No, we just say that our teams are garbage.
No.
We just say they're garbage.
Tell the truth. I
do tell the truth. We say that the team's garbage and not good. I mean, you saw what the Knicks did when they were winning playoff games. Like, how bad did Knicks fans have to wait for that stuff to happen? Like, pretty long time.
Like, I feel like
I'm just saying.
With Boston fans, I feel like it takes them a little bit longer, just a little bit, to just be like, all right, well, ship has sailed. It's not happening. You know what I mean? New York fans, I feel like they're a little quicker, and it's not that much quicker, but they're quick to be like, all right, this guy's got to go. This one sucks. I've got to change the game plan, whatever. But, I mean, they're the 2 best fan bases in the country. So.
Right, by far.
Yeah, by far.
Not Philly, not LA, it's by far.
That's it. Yeah.
By far. Facts.
1 and 2.
Facts.
That's it.
Like Philly might be a distant third, like a distant cousin. Like that's not. Sorry, like that's not. It's not even. It's not even close. So, you can ask the next question, Aaron. I know you had another question to ask.
Is Aaron still? Oh, there he is.
I think I'm good.
He's there. You good? You ain't got. All right. So, yeah. So it's just I want to transition to football now. So. You and I had a quick back and forth when, the whole Aaron Rodgers, his ayahuasca trip, and he's on the Pat McAfee show and, saying, Willie or won't read. And then he finally makes this conclusion that he wants to come to the New York Jets. So obviously, we got the Jets, got the Bills, got the New York Football Giants, which is, I know you and Aaron's team. So just kind of, just a quick synopsis before we get into training camp. We'll start with the Jets because, Aaron Rodgers comes in the offseason. They bring some of his buddies from other places over to the team. So kind of building off what they did last year with Garrett Wilson. And I forget the running back is escaping me right now, but I know you got
Breece Hall.
Yeah, Breece Hall. So just what do you see the Jets doing this season? I know that they obviously improved talent-wise, but just what do you see happening with the Jets first before we get into the other teams?
Yeah, no, I think this is going to be a huge, huge season for the Jets. I think this one is for all the marbles. Like when people are gambling and they're like all in, the Jets have gone all in. So this is a very make it or break it season. It's Super Bowl or bust for them. But I think that it's so incredible, and I think that it's amazing that Aaron Rodgers decided to come to the Jets. Obviously, it took a little bit longer for that decision to to come about and be confirmed, just because he wanted to take his time. The Packers obviously, they wanted to get the best return for a guy like Aaron Rodgers. But I think that, the Jets are coming off a season where their defense was incredible. When we talk about the Jets last year, we talk a lot about the offensive mishaps that they had. They went through a quarterback carousel because of immaturity, because of guys not wanting to take accountability. And everyone knows exactly who I'm talking about here. But I think you get a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who's a veteran. Just like you said, he's obviously got some of his former teammates coming along with him over to Florham Park. But I think, Garrett Wilson, their defense, you got Sauce Gardner out there, who's just an absolute stud. The offensive player.
So I told Aaron that.
Stop it.
I told Aaron that last year. But okay, keep going.
The offensive and defensive.
He's no Darrelle Revis, all right?
He's of the year. Of the year last season. I mean, they have only gotten better. But I think when you bring in a guy like Aaron Rodgers, he's has one of the best quarterbacks in all of football. He can, quote unquote, lead them to the promised land. We're going to have to see how he does that. But I think the best part about this for the Jets is the fact that last year, the majority of their struggles came from quarterback play. If you take that out of the mix from last season, I think they finished with a much better record. I think they obviously win more games. It's less drama going on in their locker room. So you insert this guy, and we all know that Aaron Rodgers isn't afraid of drama. But when it comes to his play on the field, it is leaps and bounds from what they have dealt with in the past. So, and I think too, Aaron Rodgers is coming into this season with a little bit of like a chip on his shoulder, like, oh, the Packers were just like, all right, bye, see you later, or like whatever. Like, I feel like he has a sour taste in his mouth about how things went down there in his exit. And so now he's coming into this season with a little bit of fire, like, all right, like, that's how you wanted to do things. I'm going to come here and I'm going to try to win their first Super Bowl since Super Bowl 3. So we'll see what happens.
Super Bowl.
The script has been leaked. Aaron Rodgers has won the Super Bowl this year. I feel like he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder. I feel like he has the biggest pressure on his shoulders.
I think, I think there's like Aaron's 100% right. There's 1,000% pressure. Like, everyone is looking at the Jets like, so if you don't do it this year, when are you going to do it? And Aaron Rodgers also didn't commit to anything past this season either. So that also is a factor into, all right, well, if it doesn't work, then what's going to happen next for the Jets? Was this just like an all in or whatever? Like, we're just going to go back to how we were and the fans are going to be miserable and da-da-da-da. So, there's pressure. But I think Aaron Rodgers is, he's no stranger to pressure. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean,
LAX.
Right. Yeah. No, I do think if things, don't go the way they envision, which I think is at least I feel like at least if they don't at least make the AFC Championship game, I think that would be a bust, obviously.
Yeah.
With getting him. So, but if that was to happen or not happen, they lose in the second round or they lose in the wild card round, because we know that he's susceptible to doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost positive that Garrett Wilson's going to get a, not Garrett Wilson. What was the quarterback that he took over for?
The BYU Cougar, Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson. I think he's going to get a "Hey, big head" text from Rob from ownership saying, "Hey, it's like it's like, come on, baby, I rock with you. I just had to see what it was like. I was coming home back to you."
Here's the thing. I do think that part of it is like Zach Wilson really just needs a vet to be under to just learn, gain some experience from, and grow as a player and also as a person. Like, we saw how Zach Wilson responded in some big moments last year, which was just not cool. Locker room was in shambles. Like, and if you're going to be a starting quarterback, you can't act like that. So I think that the front office is like, we want to keep Zach around because obviously he's talented, but he's got some growing to do. So I think, Zach Wilson probably knows that, like, all right, they're not just throwing me away. Like, I think that this is a great opportunity for him to learn from one of the best. And if it goes well, great. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. Like, I'm sorry, but like, Zach Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, like, it's clear. But if it doesn't go so well, Zach Wilson has a season under him playing under Aaron Rodgers. So I think it's kind of like if you want to have some perspective, that could be like a win-win, optimistic type of perspective. But I think for Aaron Rodgers, it's all about how he performs. And for Zach Wilson, it's all about how he grows under Aaron Rodgers. Because if it doesn't go well, or if Aaron Rodgers decides to retire after this season, Zach Wilson, what were you working on? What did you learn? How did you grow this year? Because they're going to go back to him. So we'll see.
I'm more concerned when he does it off the field. That was it. We ain't gonna get into it. Well, I'm not gonna put it out there. I'm saying I'm just more concerned about him making sure that he's professional off the field. Make sure that so Zach, you need to lock in, big dog, because whatever you're looking for off the field is gonna be there. That's all I'm gonna say. It's gonna be there. Your professional athlete is gonna be there. Just let that ride. Let that happen as let the chips fall where they may, and just get better as a player, because the other stuff is going to be there, dog. Just like it's not necessary.
Remember, the BYU Cougars have a strict no tolerance policy, especially when they play football. But speaking of growing, I'm going to transition a little bit. Daniel Jones gets the bag secured. He actually has a coordinator that is not Jason Garrett. Does he grow from this under Coach Daves, or does he regress a little bit because now he's literally Danny Dimes?
Who are we talking about? I'm sorry.
Daniel
Jones.
Daniel Jones.
Speaking of growing.
I think Daniel Jones continues to grow. I feel like so hard.
It's okay. Take your time, because it's hard. It's hard to come up with an opinion, because I'm trying to figure something out too. So it's okay.
It's so hard because I feel like last season was a really good season for Daniel Jones, and I think that we're finally starting to see a little bit of growth from him. We're starting to actually see some, I guess, the fruits of his labor or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I want to say that yes, things are going to continue to get better and he's in a better situation or like whatever. But I don't know. For some reason, I'm like still not like completely sold on Daniel Jones for some reason in that offense. And I mean, obviously, we're still waiting to figure out what's actually happening with Saquon as well. And what his
where his address is, I will personally go talk to Saquon.
I will personally go talk to Saquon because that's a huge factor in Daniel Jones' progression and how the Giants' offense even will play out this season. But for some reason, I mean, I just feel like everyone's still kind of on the fence, and I don't want to negate the fact that I do think that he had a really good season last year. Obviously, Brian Daboll, I'm a huge fan of Brian Daboll. I mean, the guy's incredible. The way that he was able to lead them last season in his first year as a head coach, I think was great. But we'll have to see. I'm hoping that this is something like, I mentioned about the Knicks, that this is kind of like a steady incline for the Giants. I think that they obviously have a really great head coach that they're playing under. I think Daniel Jones is kind of settling in more so as a starting QB. So we'll see what happens.
Do you think Saquon's worth the $16 million he's asking for instead of the Shane's? How do you say 100%?
1,000%. I think Saquon Barkley is worth a lot of dollars. My thing is, I understand people are like the injuries and you don't know.
Yeah, you're talking to one of them.
He's very unpredictable. You know what I mean? And I get that, but I also understand where the market is too. Like, I don't think he's asking for much more than what other top running backs are asking for in the league. And I personally think Saquon Barkley is one of the top running backs in the league.
Absolutely.
So I say pay the man.
Yep.
If you're gonna pay anybody on the Giants, you gotta pay Saquon.
Bingo. That's where I'm at with it. It's like, to me, he's clearly box office, and once again, it's part of what you do on the field. But also, if people are looking to come see you play, then you get the guy there that fans want to see. Exactly. And yes, are there fans that share the same sentiment as Aaron? Absolutely. And I get it, because the running back position has been the most devalued position in the league by far since we were children. Like, I think that, no longer are the days of the Curtis Martins, Emmitt Smiths, Chris Johnsons. Those guys are not. Those guys aren't around. They feel like you can get them a dime a dozen. I disagree. I feel like, if you get a good running back, I feel like you should hold on, to them, because it makes your offense that more, that dynamic. So, so we'll see. But like I said, yeah, no, they honestly, we, and Aaron can tell you this, we clowned. I mean, Aaron didn't predict them going to the playoffs, but he's always going to pick them. We do a weekly prediction show, and he would pick them every time to win. And me and my other co-host Shay would be like, okay, Aaron, like, all right, like you, like, being the ultimate homer. But then, like I said, they had a much better season than the Patriots. I was actually there. I was actually there for the Marcus Jones return against the Jets. That game was terrible until that moment. I was like, oh my god,
terrible game. Oh my god,
I was like super cold. Dude. I was in the 300 section. I'm like, oh my god, like I got to get out of here. But
we were in the press box, like, is it almost over? And then literally, literally seconds left, and we were like, "What?"
Yeah, because
asleep.
Yep, because it's funny. The person I was sitting next to, I said, man, Marcus Jones is due. I said, because he's been close the last few weeks, and I said maybe he get one here.
Wow.
And bam, I was like, let's go. It's like, and lost my voice or whatever. And then Jacoby Myers does what he does in Oakland. I mean, sorry, in Las Vegas, and. That was a rant that I haven't ranted like that in a long time. I don't know if I have.
There are a lot of jokes about that. Poor Jacoby Myers. I'm a huge
Poor Jacoby Myers?
Jacoby fan. Obviously, obviously that sucks. Like, nobody wants it to happen. But like Jacoby, leading up to that point, Jacoby was like Mr. Reliable for them. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, dang, like for that moment to happen, and then. It's just, the jokes come and like whatever, and of course against it's just like that was a really hard pill to swallow. But I'm a huge Jacoby fan. Yes, absolutely.
And your best ability.
Hold on.
Exactly.
Your availability, and that guy showed up every day.
Yes, that's not the argument. That's not my argument. Yes, that's true. I thought he was going to be the next Troy Brown. That's what I thought he was going to make sure if he stayed here. I thought he had that trajectory. The play was bad enough, but then in the post-game presser, you say, I was trying to be a hero. What, bro? Like, all you had to do was lay down. All you had to do was lay down. Like, once again, I'm getting mad like it just happened yesterday again. But it's just like, all you had to do was lay down, Jacoby. That's all you had to do. That's all you had to do, bro. Like oh god, and I'm like throwing it to Mac Jones. I'm just like, that was like throwing it to me. What are you going? What was Mac Jones going to do? Come on, man. Like, what was Mac Jones going to do in that moment? Like, he was going to outrun Chandler Jones. Like, don't be dumb, bro. Like, oh my god, that was so like that week that we've recorded. There was nothing analyst about me that week. I was just like, I was so disgusted. I was just like, they deserve whatever happens to them the rest of the season. Like, I don't care. I was like, fire Bill, get rid of Jacoby, get rid of everybody. I was so bad.
You see what I mean?
It was so bad. Aaron can tell you, Aaron was laughing, and he was like, he said, I don't know if I've seen you mad before. He said, but this is next level. I was like, yeah, I probably haven't been this mad since Super Bowl 46. Like, that's how mad I was. I was living.
No, last season was rough. It was
rough, man. It was bad. It was bad. And I know other fan bases have had worse. I don't care about that. I just care about what's going on with me. I don't care about that.
Like, when you're the Patriots, anything looks like way worse than what.
Yeah, you feel me?
So, yeah.
I would have taken 10-7 though. I'd have been fine with that. We were 10-7 a couple years ago. I'd have been okay with that. It's just get it. Just be in the conversation. You're not going to win every year. I'm fine with that. But I'm like, we didn't see bonehead players like that for the previous 2 decades. We're not consistently anyway. So it was just like, oh my god, like what is wrong with you, bro? So, but whatever. It's like I said, whatever. I've went to therapy for it. I've moved on somewhat. Yeah, that's a therapist, and we'll just leave it at that. But let's go back to the AFC East. So the other team, the third team in New York, the only team that's in New York. I just do that for Aaron. The only team that's in New York, not East Rutherford. the Buffalo Bills. So there was some offseason. Well, it seemed like there was some offseason strife with Stephon Diggs and the organization, and obviously, they once again fell short in the playoffs. So, just what are your thoughts on the Bills going into the season? What do you see happening with Josh Allen? And how do you see them faring overall?
Yeah, I mean, that's so funny because when I was working in Utica in Central New York, everyone used to say the only NFL team that actually is. So when you said that, I was like, flashback. But I mean, we all know how talented Josh Allen is. I think that last season, though, we saw a lot of I don't want to say we saw his not age coming through, because obviously he's been in the league for a few seasons now, but there were a lot of mishaps. There were a lot of the interceptions. What game was that last year when he fumbled on the goal line? And
I don't know. It was the Vikings game.
For a touchdown. I forget who they're playing that.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but
there were a bunch of just really weird mistakes, mishaps from Josh Allen that we saw. But I think Josh Allen's incredibly talented. He's a top 5 QB for me in the league. Stephon Diggs, as far as Stephon Diggs is concerned, I feel like there are things that happened last year, especially in the playoffs, either in the locker room or on the field, that he just wasn't happy about. It seemed like there was some miscommunication in some spots. I think they got to address that and fix it, because Stephon Diggs is incredible. I think the Bills need him, and I think they need to keep him happy. He makes crazy plays. He is their number one wideout. So whatever you got to do for Stephon Diggs to feel comfortable in your offense, to me, if you want to win, you got to do it, especially if you're going to keep him. It seems like Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen have a really good relationship. Josh Allen, he addressed some of the reports about Stephon Diggs, some of his frustrations and things like that. And he's like, we love him and we're really happy to have him and we want him to be here. So I don't think that, this has anything to do with their personal relationship. But as your teammate, if I'm Stephon Diggs, I'm like, dude, there are plays that if I'm calling for the ball, if I'm open, I need to make this play. It can't be a fumble. Who are you throwing the ball to? No more interceptions, whatever. I don't know what those conversations are like in their locker room with each other, with their coaches, whatever. But there just seems to be a little bit of a miscommunication. If they get that together, I mean, the AFC East is stacked right now.
Crazy. It's crazy right now.
Crazy division right now.
3 years.
Dude, honestly, we all know who's in the bottom of the division right now, respectfully, and it's
no, it's the Patriots. No, it's the Patriots. Yeah, that's the Patriots. Yeah,
I wasn't trying to.
No, it's the Patriots. No, it's the Patriots. But until they show something otherwise, they're the fourth.
Yeah, but no, it's a tight race. It really is a tight race, and so the Bills, they've been controlling the AFC East for the past couple seasons. My thing is that tandem of Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. If you're going to have Stephon Diggs on the team, that tandem needs to be in alignment, or Jets are coming right past you. The Dolphins are just going to fly right past you, whatever. And obviously they have other pieces in Buffalo, but Stephon Diggs is an incredible wide receiver. Make him happy.
Yeah.
There's
go, Aaron.
What did you say, Aaron?
There's room on the Giants couch for him.
Come on.
Yeah. Well, I do think, because the thing is, I did think that Josh Allen would be the guy in the division once Brady left, and that's been true. Stephon Diggs definitely helped this progression, because I do think he does have that gunslinger mentality that leads to those turnovers that are inexcusable or even inexplicable. So I think that's what happens there. But yeah, they're the cream of the crop in that division. I mean, once again, I thought Miami definitely got better at times. I thought that they were gonna run away when you bring over someone like Tyreek Hill and everyone. Mike. The coach that became the new media darling down there.
Yeah, but Tua's getting beat up down there. So
yeah. I mean, the certain games he should have been back in there. But I get it. When you're basically trying to hold on with your third string as the quarterback, and he played well, but come on, he wasn't going to do much.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's when I knew that New England had to get better when they put up 31 with a third string, and the week before that we had lost when Mack and only put up 17. I was like, yeah, like y'all, something got to give here. Like Matt Patricia got to go, and thank God, Robert Kraft stepped in and said, hey, either you find somebody that needs to be they need a better OC, and thank God they brought back Bill O'Brien there. So that was I was thankful with that. But that division is going to be brutal. Once again, there's always going to be someone that falls that people thought was going to do better. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm excited. I mean, I do think Buffalo still wins the division.
Okay.
But it probably, like I said, it'd probably be Buffalo, Miami. I still think the Jets are third right now. I just do. I don't care who's on there. I don't trust. I don't trust the Jets in any situation. Once again, hey, Aaron Rodgers. Me and Aaron talked about this. He's literally following Brett Favre's footsteps. We don't want him selling food stamps. We don't want him doing that. But other than that, he's following, his footsteps. So it's just like, bro, are you gonna come out here and go 12-4 and win the division, or 12-5 and win the division? I don't think so. But I mean, we'll see. What happens. But it's gonna be brutal. But but like Aaron said, he threw that little jab in there. That wasn't. Hey, when you got the best player in football at that position, hey, it is what it is. That's what happened. Domination, and it is what it is. To be the man, you got to beat the man. You know that, Aaron. You know that better than anybody.
I did twice. The biggest game.
That's what I'm saying. So you know what it is.
It's going to be an exciting season. I'm really, really excited for this NFL season. It's going to be good.
Who are you most looking forward to interviewing for the football season?
Oh, I mean, if they have me on Jets coverage, I would love to talk to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I'd be happy, obviously, to talk to any of those guys on the team. Sauce Gardner, I think, is one super cool and just really incredibly talented. So I would love to talk to him too, but Aaron Rodgers for sure.
Yeah, listen, tell Sauce about us, Jackson. I'm a fan, so Aaron don't have to be on that show. Yeah. I'll talk to him. Aaron want to sit there clown. I think that's a bad man. I think he is definitely next
incredible.
Up. Yeah, he's a beast. I was like, he's like that. So I think that I know people like Patrick Surtain, people like Jalen Ramsey. I'm like, that's cool, but I'm like that's not he's coming.
He is like,
beast.
Yeah, he's different.
So I'm ready. So I'm like, so if Aaron wants to just troll on Twitter on that day, that's fine.
Buy a Darrelle Revis jersey and wear it. And
well, speaking of that, quick aside, apparently he still has beef with Asante Samuel, apparently. I just saw that on Twitter.
Yes.
It was like, if you would caught the interception, a high school guy could have made an interception. Just about Super Bowl 42. I was like, and I was snapping fingers like it was poetry because I was like, yeah, you right. I said, you're right, Revis, you're right, because you take that, we don't have to even worry about the Ellis Hobbs play, and maybe history is made. So it's just like, what do you know? And I forgot about that until he brought that up. I was like, wow, but. Yeah, I said, wow, I didn't know they were still and it's like the girls are fighting. the girls are fighting. So I was like, wow, that was nuts. But that's crazy.
The important question I need to ask is what was it like transitioning from the Boston area down to the Big Apple, working like your first week at SNY? Like what was the transition like? Is it similar, a little different, like the studios, or?
Yeah. That's a good question. I think because, well, one, working in New York City is it's a different animal. It being the number one market, like there is a little more pressure there. But, working at NESN definitely helped me prepare for a job like this. Just because NESN's another regional sports network, obviously very high profile teams and athletes and things like that. But with SNY, like one thing that I will say is I love that SNY is we are based in FIDI in Financial District, and with NESN, our studios are in Watertown, so we're not
Right.
exactly in Boston. So even just like walking into work for SNY, it's like the buildings and just like everyone's around. It just seems so like official. You're in this huge city and everyone has something to do and everyone's going somewhere. So that's a really cool aspect of it too. But the studios are dope. Like I love every time I go into work, and mind you, we're on like the 50 something floor of our building. And so I have this amazing view right next to my desk. And every time I walk into work and I walk through the studios, I'm like, wow, like this is legit. This is happening. And Good Morning Football, they also shoot their stuff in our studios as well, which is really cool. But no, my first week, I was definitely nerve wracking. I was like, all right, well, because you're trying to get accustomed to other fan bases. And granted, being from Connecticut, like that helps because I'm obviously paying attention to these teams. Working in Boston helps because obviously I've already been paying attention to these teams. But just getting accustomed to the way that they do things, their personnel, their seasons, the way that the teams are built up and things like that. All that stuff was a little bit nerve-wracking. I don't want to say stressful. It wasn't stressful, but it was just something to get accustomed to. But the transition wasn't crazy. But I remember when I was doing my first show, I was like, all right, y'all, get it together. Let's go. Like, you got to do it. And so you also, and mind you, I'm coming from NESN too, where I was mostly doing like digital things. I did like some TV stuff, but not as much. And like now being at SNY, I do all linear television things and it's all live. So it's like, this is a one and done situation. Let's do it. It's like a game. So you got one shot, like go out there and do it. So, and when you're doing it in the biggest market or the top market, it's very nerve wracking, but it's also just like fun in a way.
Yeah. Are you doing with UConn coverage this year? Because you did a really good job last year. And that you were interviewing Gino a lot. I was like,
yeah, that's what I was about to. This is why this is why you and I are here, Aaron. I was about to bring it up. Like to me, I was like, obviously, you did other stuff, but when I saw the Gino take, I was like, yeah, like she the real deal. Like it was already like that before, but seeing that with Gino, I was like, oh, okay, like this is like, it ain't like, oh, it's no fly by night type thing. Like this girl's here to stay. And the thing, we talked about this last year. If you remember, we talked about it. I don't know if it was at the end of the show or after. I was like, yeah, like the big market's coming. And he was like, hopefully. And I'm like, nah, like you about to be on. And then, bam, a year later, here we are. So I mean, yeah. So hey, you call Jalen Brunson, I called the big market. So,
I'll take it. But no, like doing the UConn coverage was really, really big for me personally, just because being from Connecticut, growing up in the state, playing girls basketball, playing in high school and college, like everyone knows who Gino Auriemma is. Everyone in the basketball world knows who he is. So when our UConn reporter ended up leaving the network, my boss was just like, okay, like we're going to put you on some UConn coverage. And so he knows that obviously I'm very, I favor basketball. Like I love talking about it, obviously know the game and stuff like that. So when he told me, I was like, oh shoot, okay, we're going to do this. Like, let's do it. And I was so nervous because Gino is like the godfather of basketball. And like, just like I've never talked to him either up until our first interview together. And so I remember I started during the Big East tournament. Of course, they went on to win that tournament. And I was just like, okay, well, I guess my assignment is just to talk to him after every game. Even though that's not exactly what I was told, but I was just like, I mean, it's Gino, it's the playoffs, let's just do it. And so our first interaction, like, it was just so organic. And I think that because I love sports and I love basketball and I actually like talking about it and watching it and things like that, I think that in my like questions, he could tell that like this is something that I understand or something that I really enjoy. And so and then when he would give me answers, I would follow up on those answers, or I would like lead a question with something that he had
Mhm.
told me. So he's like, okay, this girl's paying attention, or like whatever. So our conversations just seemed very like organic and honest and authentic. And I hope
Yeah.
that he feels the same way, because that's how I felt. But it was just so cool to talk to him. And I was like, wow, this is like, this is the opportunity that I get to have. And I'm so blessed to be able to do it. And then, we go to the NCAA tournament, they send them out to Seattle. And I was like, wait, what the heck? Like, we're going to send this East Coast team all the way to Seattle, but whatever, it's fine. And he wasn't too thrilled about that. But, they end up losing in the Sweet 16. And I remember that after that game, I was like, well, we got to talk to somebody. And the girls are crying and they're super emotional about everything. And I was like, all right, I'm going to talk to Gino. And so I went up to their head of PR for him. And I just, was like, can I get Gino after the press conferences? And so she was like, yeah, I'm going to try. And so he walks off the stage, and I remember they walk by us. And so she's talking to him, like saying something to him. And I'm following behind because I'm like waiting to see if like he's going to be down for an interview. And like, thankfully he was. And he was so gracious. And I think he appreciated the questions that I asked him. And I think that it went well. And I think that, at this point in his career, having done it for so long, was it almost 4 years?
Mhm.
I think that, he's accomplished so much. So I think at this point in his career, the losses sting, obviously, and they hurt, but I don't think it stings as bad as it did maybe, in his earlier years. So the fact that he was, so willing to talk to me and things like that, like it was, I was just really grateful for all that. So I appreciate you guys' feedback too. So thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
Last question before we wrap this up.
Yeah.
With Gino's philosophy, do you think that his breed is dying out? Like, he hasn't won a championship in like a few years. I did a TikTok about it. A lot of people were giving me slack. Whereas now it's like all about transfer portals, NIL deals. Like, do you think his dinosaur way, putting it in quote, is just getting phased out in the NCAA women?
Yeah, no, I think that's a valid question. I think that part of it is just there are just better programs. Like I think, early 2000s and things like that, UConn is like the mecca of women's basketball. And I still believe that it is. But I think that there's more competition. Like the competition has leveled out so much more now. So girls are like, okay, well, I don't have to go to stores and live in the middle of nowhere or not around my family and play for Gino. You know what I'm saying? It's like there might be a college that's around my hometown or something, or I can go play for Dawn Staley, or I can go to Notre Dame, or I can go to Stanford. It's like I just think the competition has leveled out. So I think that's part of it. I do think that NIL has something to do with that 1,000%. I mean, that's affecting it on the men's side as well. I don't want to say Gino's philosophy has changed, because even over the years, I don't think that his philosophy has to change, because if you look over the years and the women who go from college to the WNBA, those players that come from UConn are the most prepared in the league. Even if you look at Bree Stewart and things like that, I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just it's just different. It's just different. So what I will say is I think Gino he's still getting accustomed to just the different era of basketball, of there just being, other schools and girls wanting to play here and I'm going to get paid here. And like, I'll be able to start here and not just ride the bench for a couple years at UConn and then kind of get my shot. It's very different now. I think he understands that, and the playing field's just a little more leveled, but it's still UConn. And even after this past season, he's like, if people saw who we're bringing in, if people saw what we have lined up, like, we're coming right back. And I think exactly, and he's going to have Paige Beckers back and things like that. Last year, they went through a lot of injuries. It was a really tumultuous season for them. But Gino, he's I do think that he's on the back end of his career. But I think he's still very much like that's the guy.
Can they take on the champs? Because they just got
that's even loaded.
I know.
Loaded.
So loaded.
The girl
Loaded.
from Louisville. What's her?
LSU.
No, Haley Van Lith.
Yeah.
Haley Van Lith from Louisville. Yeah. Now LSU.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, so
I want to see him. I'm sorry. I want to see him go back to back. That's why I went just like that. I want to see it. I'm here for it. I'm sorry. I'm here for it. I was like, hey, I became a big fan during the tournament. I was like, let's get it.
Shirt, by the way, I'm gonna go to the Milford Mall. I'm gonna go one of those shops. I'm gonna put it right on my shirt and wear it.
No, like LSU is stacked. They're definitely stacked now. But what I will say is like I think if this is the season, like UConn's got to get one. Like this is it. Like Paige Becker, she's a senior. Like she's one of the top players in the league. Like Aaliyah Edwards has gotten so much. Aaliyah Edwards is a beast. She's gotten so much better. So we'll have to see. AZ Fudd is she's nice. She's so good. She went through injuries last year too. So I think if she comes back healthy, that'll be really good for them. It's gonna be tough. Like it's definitely gonna be tough. But also you have Caitlin Clark too. I'm like, dude, these girls are coming out of the. And again, at Iowa, and I think she's from. Is she from the state of Iowa, or she's from around there? So again, we talked about some of these girls wanting to stay closer to home. Let me do something for my home state program or whatever. Like, it's just so different now. But I do think that UConn's in a really good position. They brought in some really good assets as well in the off season. So we'll see.
Yeah, listen, Caitlin and Paige would have been OD. Like that would have been
crazy.
Like so they probably or either they beat LSU or they definitely would have had a rematch, in back-to-back years, whatever, because that would have been insane. So hopefully we get to see a Final Four next year of Caitlin Clark coming back and Paige up at UConn, obviously Angela Reese and them down there. LSU and then maybe South Carolina or another program that steps up. So listen, the women's program, we talked about this a few months ago, Aaron and I, but the women's program in general was in very good hands.
Mm-hmm.
I think for to see that game on a national stage like it did, for it to be such a high scoring game too for a championship game, I think that was huge. I think sometimes it gets a bad rap for not being as entertaining, but they brought every aspect of it, to life during that championship game. So it can only help from there. And I love what they did on the pivot with Ryan Clark, and they went to so many shows and was talking that talk. So I love where the game is going in that regard. And quite frankly, the men need to catch up because college basketball for men is not where it's at right now.
It's not.
Not what it used to be, anyways.
It's definitely not. It's not. And I'm so glad I'm so glad you guys pay attention to the women's game too. Like, I really appreciate that, and it's a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to watch.
My grandpa actually is a big diehard UConn fan, so I've been watching UConn women since like 2000. So I've seen one person I'm jealous of that has seen more championships than me. Even the men's program for Connecticut has done, really well too. From Kemba to Mecca Okafor to, I remember thinking that Hilton Armstrong was going to be a problem in the league. Boone. Come on.
Josh Boone, yeah. Oh my God. His braids were longer than his NBA career, unfortunately. But that's in college, the guy was what was the problem. But to your point about us paying attention to women's sports, like this show has been built off like women coming on and blessing us with the presence. So this lady Paige Whitaker Jones out of New Orleans, Kwani Lunas came on our show from the A-List podcast. So this we are nothing without what the ladies have done. So we are internally grateful, and we'll continue to give love and give credit where it rightfully deserves. Because like I said, this is not possible without y'all. So and that's not blowing smoke. That's just the truth. So we can't let that go unnoticed. So before we get out of here, just let us know just what's next for you. Not job wise, obviously we know where you're at, but just not necessarily just what program for you they can catch you on, and where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, so the really cool thing about SNY that I love so much about being there is that they allow me to do a bunch of different things. So this week I've been doing a couple of baseball night in New York shows, which is where we just talk Mets and Yankees. I've been doing
So jealous.
This week. I'm doing one of them tomorrow on Thursday at 6 p.m. And then throughout the weekend, I'm doing Honda Sports Night. That is at 11 p.m. And that also airs throughout the morning as well, the following morning. And then, so doing a bit of that. I'll be doing some reporting here and there. Obviously, we got training camps coming up. And then hopefully I would love to be back on UConn coverage, doing some sideline stuff for them throughout the season when that gets going again. So, and then you can follow me on Instagram, Chelsea_Sherrod, on Twitter, Chelsea Sherrod, and then on Threads because, there's a little bit of beef between Twitter and Threads right now. Follow me on
Man, Elon and Mark going at it, huh?
I know.
It's crazy. I think it's hilarious though. Mark was like, "Hey, drop the address. I'm here. Let's get it." Let's get
Mark
it.
So like, I'm here.
Right.
I just really appreciate you guys having me on and the work that you guys are doing. So I'm always here. Yeah.
Listen, we trying to come up there and work with y'all. tell them to get a podcast. Tell them to get a podcast department so we could be one of the flagship people.
Hey, I have my Connecticut School Broadcasting certificate. I could do everything.
Oh my gosh, I forgot you went to CSB.
Yeah, so hey, hire that man. Hire that man.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, get him out there. So like I said, this is the campaign. This was our audition. So SNY, what up? This was our audition.
I've applied there 6 times in my whole life since I was like 19.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Then when I went to CSB. Yeah, when I went to CSB again, I did everything I needed to do. Plus, with the experience of this, I applied again, nothing. I was like, come on.
We got to talk, Aaron. We got to talk.
Yeah, listen, we are primed and ready. And once again, we want this badly. We've done almost 200 episodes of this, so which is crazy. So we are already in the top 1%, regardless of what people may say. We're here, and like I said, we're not going anywhere. So
I actually, my final word, I have a gripe with Mr. Brandon Sherrod. All right, he's gone very Hollywood. I tried to get him on a few weeks ago. He was finishing up the Israel League, which is fine. You're going back home, whatever. Dry, dude. My phone.
I told him today.
And then doing all this stuff. He's like, "Oh yeah, maybe like me and Chelsea could come on together." I'm like,
"Oh, cool.
Yeah, you're the guest. Just let me know." I'm like, "Yo, I still need a jersey." When he was with the Italian League, I'm like, "Come on, dude. I'm one voucher for you to go to the NBA." Like I'm surprised that he has not been on an NBA team yet, unless he likes being overseas.
He does.
And I helped him win his second championship in high school. Okay, I ran around at Mohegan with the Devil's Mask. If you were there, that was me.
Aaron deserves. No, I told him today I was going to be on with you guys. He was like, "Oh shoot, I got to be on with the guys."
Yeah. Oh shoot.
I was like, "Yeah."
Oh shoot. Yeah.
So Brandon, we are calling you out right now. Get on.
Right.
But no, he is a super busy guy. He does appreciate y'all. So.
I do like his clinic that he did at Birdseye. I think it was Birdseye.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So dope.
Yeah, so I said, listen, we just want to give the platform so he can share the great work that he's doing. That's all. It ain't nothing. And once again, shoot, I know. There's two more of y'all, right?
Yes, our 2 sisters.
Tell them they come on too. Yeah, I don't know what they do. I don't know they talk sports about, but they come on too.
Taylor should be busy because she's just graduated from Penn Law.
Yeah,
that's another. Another
Sherrod. I signed these contracts, so come on, Kayla, come on, new friend.
Kayla, I actually track with her. I did track with her in high school. She was a freshman. I couldn't do anything with China because she came. I left when she came.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kayla, we were on the track team together.
Oh,
Okay.
so dope. Yeah, Chayla, she's preparing for the bar. She takes the bar in a couple weeks, so she is like MIA right now.
Oh, yeah.
Great. So
But
when she passes,
yes, she'll
right,
be
when
in.
she passes, we need, you know, we don't know the rate for you right now, but we'll figure that out. We can talk off air.
We'll talk.
We start looking at these deals that people want to sign us to, or you know, if SNY hire us in the next year or so. We need you, Taylor, to look at the contract. So we
Yeah.
appreciate you in advance,
Yeah.
and congrats in advance on passing the bar.
Facts. Yes.
Yes.
And then China, our baby sister, she's a musician. So if you guys want to talk some music, pop culture.
Yeah. We haven't done the artist. We do artist spotlights on here too. We haven't done artist spotlight. Yeah. That's but we haven't done one in a while. So yeah, I mean, listen, why not?
Yeah.
I think Brandon talked about his music stuff on there too when he came on.
He did say he was the better singer. He did.
Of course.
Look at the eye. The competition is real. The competition is real.
And also to close it out, you and Rose Gold Dirty have been the most back-to-back guests that have been on our show. So
yeah, we gotta get him back on too. I know he's been a great supporter as well. So yeah, but listen, yeah, we love you. We appreciate you giving us your time. I'm glad we actually had you for a longer time this time, because last time we had to cut things short. But I'm glad that this was we got a good amount of time out of here. Like I said, it didn't take too much to get time on an off day, for you. So we're glad you squeezed us in for a little bit of your day. So for Chelsea Sherrod, for Aaron Cass, I'm Rashawn Buchanan, and until next time, we'll see you. Peace.